Okay, so let's talk about our mystery song of the week. And this is from history.com, this day in history, January 25. And it's about the 1980 arrest of the Beatles singer Paul McCartney. January 25th, 1980, Paul McCartney is released from a Tokyo jail cell and deported from Japan. Paul McCartney arrived at Tokyo's Narita International Airport on January 16th, 1980, which marked his first visit to Japan since the Beatles tour of 1966. The occasion was a planned 11-city concert tour by his band Wings. Instead, Paul's visit was limited to a 9-day stay in the Tokyo Narcotics Detention Center, which ended on January 25th, 1980. Paul McCartney was found to be carrying nearly half a pound of marijuana in his baggage upon arrival at Narita, an amount that Paul would later assure Japanese authorities was intended solely for his personal use. Well, half a pound of marijuana for personal use would be more than a year's supply of smoking every day. So, Paul, I don't think if you're coming for an 11-city tour that half a pound of marijuana is for personal use. Now, what are you thinking, Paul? You're a famous international singer. You've had run-ins with the British police dealing with marijuana. The Japanese aren't going to just let you walk through their airport and into their country without being severely searched. Well, anyway, I guess that's exactly what did happen. So the amount was large enough, however, to warrant a smuggling charge and a potential 7-year prison sentence. Given Japan's reputation for rigorous enforcement of its strict anti-drug laws, it was by no means a foregone conclusion that McCartney would escape trial and possible imprisonment, yet he was released and quickly deported from Japan on January 25th prior to making any court appearance. Japan is, and will be very harsh on any drug offense. They do not want it in their country. That a celebrity of McCartney's stature would avoid the consequences that a less famous drug smuggler might have faced was hardly surprising. After all, who could blame the Japanese authorities for applying a double standard to a prisoner whose sing-alongs inside the jailhouse and screaming fans outside threatened to create a significant distraction from the normal workings of the justice system? The question that troubled the minds of observers at the time was, what was Paul thinking? Yeah, and we just talked about that. What were you thinking, Paul? Half a pound of marijuana was a prodigious amount for one man to carry around for personal use, particularly a man who had reason to expect especially close examination of his person and his baggage by Japanese customs officials. After all, Paul had been denied a Japanese entry visa just 5 years earlier due to his numerous arrests for drugs in Europe. 20 years after his 1980 arrest, Paul would opine that his psychological motivation may have been to find an excuse to disband Wings, which he in fact did immediately following his return to England. In another interview, however, Sir Paul offered an explanation that may be more compelling for its simplicity. We were about to fly to Japan. I knew I wouldn't be able to get anything to smoke over there, McCartney said in 2004. This stuff was too good to flush down the toilet, so I thought I'd take it with me. Big mistake. Okay, so the name of the song is called A Band on the Run by Paul McCartney and his newly formed group after the Beatles broke up, Wings. So let's talk a little bit about the song and the lyrics. This 1974 classic song from ex-Beatle Paul McCartney and friends depicts the narrator's escape from the four walls of a jail cell and the ensuing search party. The song begins with a metaphorical prison, quote, stuck inside these four walls. Where the orchestra comes in is where McCartney envisioned a hole being blasted in one of the walls and the subsequent escape. In 1980, McCartney did actually spend 9 days in a Tokyo jail and faced a possible 7-year prison sentence. Needless to say, there was no escape. Instead, he was merely deported after serving his brief sentence. Paul McCartney explained the song's meaning to the Mail on Sunday's Event magazine. I wrote it as a story to sum up the transition from captivity to freedom. When the tempo changes at Sings, the rain exploded with a mighty crash. I do that in my concert, and that always feels like a freeing moment. Stuck inside these four walls, sent inside forever, never seeing no one, nice again like you. Mama, you. Mama, you. If I ever get out of here, thought of giving it all away to a registered charity. All I need is a pint a day. If I ever get out of here, if we ever get out of here. Well, the rain exploded with a mighty crash as we fell into the sun. And the first one said to the second one there, I hope you're having fun. Band on the run. And the jailer, man, and sailor Sam were searching every one. Band on the run. Well, the undertaker drew a heavy sigh, seeing no one else had come, and the bell was ringing in the village square for the rabbits on the run. Band on the run. And the jailer man and sailor Sam were searching everyone for the band on the run. Well, the night was falling as the desert world began to settle down. In the town, they're searching for us everywhere, but we will never be found. Band on the run. And the country judge who held a grudge will search forevermore for the band on the run. Okay, so that was a little bit of information from songfacts.com. So let's take a listen now to Paul McCartney and Wings song, Band on the Run.